So when the patient presents with sagging of their buttocks only, a buttock lift on itself is all that they need. A buttock lift entails making an upper and a lower incision. Typically, the upper incision is placed at the junction between the lower back and the upper buttocks, and the lower incision is made several inches lower. Through that incision, a segment of upper buttock tissue and skin is removed and the buttocks are lifted. As you do that, the buttocks also get flatter and smaller. For those people who require reshaping or augmenting their buttocks in addition to a buttock lift, I typically combine buttock augmentation with the lift. To achieve this goal, I usually use a lower back or upper butt fat. I develop pads from the fat and I insert the pads into their buttocks at the time of a lift. So they get a buttock lift and buttock enhancement with lower back fat pads. This is called autologous augmentation. Autologous means that the fat is coming from you and the fat pads have their own blood supply. So unlike a Brazilian butt lift, what you transfer is permanent and none of it is lost. Because as I mentioned, again, the fat pads have their own blood supply. They do not rely on obtaining nutrients and oxygen from adjacent fat cells, and therefore they permanently survive. So you can get a really good correction with using the extra lower back fat in between your upper and lower buttock lift incision and using that for autologous augmentation. In addition to that, you may also need additional fat for reshaping the buttocks. And I typically obtain that fat by liposuctioning the patient, harvesting the fat, and transferring that fat, just like a Brazilian butt lift or buttock fat transplantation or buttock fat transfer into the buttocks. As I'm transferring the fat, I'm reshaping the butt, I'm creating roundness, fullness, perkiness. I'm trying to bring the center of projection to the middle of the buttocks after a buttock lift procedure. And in that manner, not only I can lift the buttocks, correct the sagging, but also enhance the fullness and the projection. Sometimes patients come to me and say, I want a moderate augmentation. Sometimes they come and say, I want a bigger buttocks. And occasionally people want to have a smaller buttocks. But in reality, the procedure doesn't change. You still have to do the lift. You still have to harvest some fat, and you have to place the fat in the center of the buttocks to create projection, because the lift flattens the butt, and therefore to create projection, you need to bring volume back, you need to bring fat back, you need to create a peak, you need to create fullness to the buttocks.